Welcome to a place where celebrations turn into confessions and smiles hide the sharpest betrayals. Here, family milestones aren't always sacred. They're sometimes chosen as stages for the truth to explode. These stories pull back the curtain on marriages that looked calm, finances that seemed stable, and husbands who mastered the art of deception. You'll hear how a public betrayal can shatter pride in seconds, how a secret double life drains not just money but trust, and how silence can be stronger than screaming. This channel is about patience over panic, exposure over chaos, and revenge that doesn't destroy the innocent but reveals the guilty. Every story is told from the inside, raw and human, where timing is everything, and truth always arrives when it hurts the most. If you're drawn to emotional twists, shocking secrets, and endings where lies collapse in public, you're exactly where you belong. The auditorium smelled of polished wood and fresh flowers, the kind chosen for milestones meant to be remembered with pride. Families leaned forward, phones raised, waiting for names to be called. When the daughter's name echoed through the speakers, applause thundered, and a future seemed to open wide. That was the exact moment chosen for destruction. A husband leaned close, voice low and steady, and said he was leaving. No pause, no regret. Just a declaration dropped like a blade in the middle of celebration. Shock has a strange way of freezing sound. Applause faded into a dull roar, faces blurred, and the stage lights suddenly felt too bright. He sat back with a smug calm, as if choosing that moment proved strength rather than cruelty. For months, distance had grown. Missed dinners, late-night calls taken outside, a phone guarded like a secret vault. Still, nothing prepared for betrayal served publicly, wrapped in a gown and diploma. Pride turned to humiliation in seconds. The daughter waved from the stage, smiling, unaware that a family had just been shattered from the inside. The husband watched without flinching, eyes already drifting elsewhere, toward a future clearly rehearsed. That future included another woman, though the truth had been carefully hidden behind business trips and unexplained withdrawals. It included money taken from shared accounts, promises whispered to someone who wasn't supposed to exist, and a plan to exit cleanly after one final performance as a devoted partner. What he didn't expect was silence instead of tears. No argument, no scene, just a steady breath and a mind already replaying every red flag dismissed in the name of peace. Betrayal stings deepest when it hijacks joy meant for a child, turning a sacred rite of passage into a stage for ego and cruelty. The ceremony ended, caps flew, families hugged, and photos were taken, but nothing could erase the way he smiled while delivering the blow. That smile would not last, because the moment he chose for humiliation became the moment his lies began unraveling. The marriage always looked calm from the outside, the kind built on routines and polite smiles. Morning coffee left untouched until reheated, evenings filled with half-listened conversations and excuses dressed up as exhaustion. Trust once lived there, quietly assumed, never questioned, until patterns began to crack the surface. Bank notifications arrived late at night, withdrawals that didn't match bills, charges from cities never visited together. Each one brushed aside with casual explanations meant to sound reassuring. Late nights became normal. Phones face down, passwords changed. Affection replaced with impatience. When questions surfaced, they were met with gentle gaslighting, a tone that suggested imagination was the real problem. Doubt was planted carefully, watered with blame, until silence felt easier than confrontation. That silence gave him room to build something else. The truth unfolded slowly, like peeling wallpaper hiding mold. There was another woman, funded not with his own excess, but with money meant for family security. Shared savings paid for hotel rooms. Grocery money covered gifts and dinners. A second life ran parallel, hidden behind spreadsheets and fake meetings. Every sacrifice made at home had been redirected to someone who believed she was special, chosen, protected. Emotional manipulation filled the gaps. Kindness appeared only when suspicion grew. Apologies came without accountability. Promises were made to buy time, not forgiveness. The calm marriage wasn't calm at all. It was carefully controlled, designed to keep one side unaware while resources quietly disappeared. Discovery didn't come from snooping, but from numbers refusing to lie. Accounts told a clearer story than words ever had. Dates lined up, patterns repeated. Lies stacked so high they began to lean. Each revelation burned, not just for the betrayal, but for the disrespect, using trust as a funding source for deception. What hurt most wasn't the other woman. It was the ease with which family stability had been gambled away. College funds skimmed, emergency savings drained, all justified in his mind by entitlement and ego. He believed control would last forever, that silence meant ignorance. But knowledge changes everything, and the moment he realized the numbers had been seen, the calm he depended on finally collapsed. Silence became the greatest weapon. No tears were spilled in front of him, no questions asked that could warn him. Every routine stayed the same. Dinners served, schedules followed, polite conversations maintained, while attention sharpened quietly. Lies are loud when listened to carefully. Excuses repeat themselves. Stories change by a single detail that gives everything away. Each late night was logged mentally. Every sudden deposit followed by a quick withdrawal was noted. The phone that never left his hand revealed more by what it hid than what it showed. There was power in not reacting. Rage would have tipped him off. Grief would have fed his confidence. Calm made him careless. Trust had already been broken, but it was allowed to look intact. That illusion kept doors open. Passwords stayed accessible. Paper statements continued to arrive. Conversations with bankers, lawyers, and accountants happened quietly during lunch hours and grocery runs. Copies were made, screenshots saved, timelines aligned. Truth doesn't need volume, it only needs patience. At night, while he slept easily beside someone he believed was fooled, the full picture came together. The second life was no longer just suspected, it was mapped. Emotional manipulation, financial deceit, promises made with stolen money, and plans designed to exit cleanly while leaving damage behind. He believed silence meant weakness. He believed kindness meant ignorance. There was no confrontation because confrontation gives control back to the liar. Instead, preparation replaced emotion. Accounts were secured, documents organized, evidence stored safely away from the house. Even his tone was studied, how confident he sounded when lying, how irritated when close to exposure. Every detail mattered. The hardest part was restraint, staying quiet while knowing everything, smiling at family events while watching him perform the role of devoted husband, letting him believe the story was still his to tell. Strategic patience doesn't erase pain, but it transforms it into clarity. Each day of silence stripped him of power he didn't realize he was losing. By the time he felt brave enough to announce his freedom, every move had already been anticipated. The calm he relied on wasn't submission, it was preparation. And when the truth finally surfaced, it did so on carefully chosen terms, leaving no room for denial and no place left to hide. The moment was chosen carefully, not out of anger, but out of precision. He believed control still rested in his hands, that the narrative belonged to him. Friends, family, colleagues, all had been fed the same polished version of events. A hardworking husband, a misunderstood marriage, a clean exit. What he didn't know was how fragile lies become when placed under bright light. The room was full, Laughter lingered, glasses clinked. He stood confidently, ready to explain his decision, rehearsed lines loaded with self-pity and justification. That confidence shattered the instant the truth arrived without warning. Screens changed, envelopes opened, documents circulated, dates, numbers, names, facts stacked so neatly they were impossible to deny. Gasps replaced chatter, eyes shifted toward him, not with sympathy, but disbelief. The same charm used to deceive now failed to protect him. Denials came fast, then louder. Accusations followed. Voices rose as control slipped away in real time. He shouted over evidence, argued with timestamps, and blamed misunderstandings that no longer existed. Every attempt to dominate the moment only confirmed what everyone could already see. The other woman's name surfaced. So did the transfers, hotel receipts, messages sent during family holidays, funds drained from accounts meant for stability and safety. The double life he managed so confidently collapsed under its own weight. There was no chaos, just exposure. No yelling matched the power of silence as the room absorbed the truth. Watching him unravel revealed something unexpected. Relief. Not from victory, but from finality. Lies thrive in shadows. Once exposed, they lose all strength. The man who once orchestrated secrets now begged for privacy. The same voice that once dismissed concerns now cracked, pleading to stop, to talk later, to fix it quietly. But quiet was never an option he had offered. People left differently than they arrived. Respect shifted, trust evaporated. The story he planned to tell was taken from him and replaced with facts he could no longer rewrite. There was no satisfaction in his pain, only certainty that truth had done what rage never could. By the end, he stood alone, stripped of the image he protected so fiercely, screaming not in anger, but in the panic of a man finally seen for exactly who he was. If this story held your attention, there are many more waiting, each one filled with hidden truths, quiet strength, and moments where lies finally lose. Don't forget to like the video if it moved you, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful stories that expose what's done in the dark. Turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload, and feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, remember, truth doesn't need noise, it only needs the right moment.